And good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us here at the Esports show for week number 4. This episode titled King's Ransom. My name's Matthew Judge Brand, and I'm here on the desk. A little bit different the format for this week. We've got Lewis T-Ball Gratz on the end there. How's your week been, my friend?
Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah, doing okay?
Doing all right.
Coasting through. Yeah. And for those of you who are wondering who the mystery man is, it is Terry Badger O'Neill.
Hey guys, how are we?
Terry, a bit about your backstory. You've been a long-standing friend of Lewis and I's.
Yes, I've tolerated you for a couple of years, yeah.
And that goes back basically to the start of AGTV days.
Yeah, it does. Oh God, why would you bring that up? I've cast
almost one of the founders.
Almost.
No, I'm not responsible in any way for that. No, I cast a few games for AGTV a few years ago. I think it was the Open Ladder for League of Legends. I did some producing over at T-Ball's house, and so I've found myself here.
And Terry, for those of you at home who still have no idea who he is, like we said, long-standing friend of ours, watches a lot of esports, keeps up with a lot of esports, and going to be our panelist for today as we change the format of the show up a little bit. We're trying some new things here, and we figured we'd move the desk and the couch this week, Lewis, and go for a desk. Yeah,
well, we've only got 3 of us this week as well, so we do fit on the desk.
We do.
I do like this little format change. Maybe we need a bigger desk for future weeks.
Maybe we do. Maybe we'll get some home DIY going for some bigger desks here.
That can only end in nothing but happiness, I'm sure.
Yeah, YouTube tutorial, nerds building desk.
That's perfect. Millions of views. We'll start today off. We've got paper this week, guys, because we've written some pretty good notes. And want to start off, first off, just before we get into the content on Crimson Gaming, I want to say thank you to our viewers for keeping us accountable. Last week we went a bit stray with some research, and our research wasn't quite on point. The research that we read wasn't quite on point, so we'll take responsibility for that, and thank you to all of you out there for keeping us accountable, and we'll do better hopefully tonight.
Yeah, it's kind of those media watch things where, I mean, like 5 different sources can have the same wrong article as well. But yeah, we're into that now, and we've actually got rid of a few things tonight because we've found them to be a bit shonky.
Yeah, so we've gone through, we've proofread a little bit. Let's see how we go. With our first topic, it's a small one, Crimson Gaming picking up an OCS team. Now, Crimson Gaming are an Adelaide-based organisation. They have really only been in the hot scene as of recent. They're a very new organisation. Their Twitter was only created in June, so we're sitting now in October. It's only been a few months. But with this pickup of the OCS side, Outlaws was #1 for OCS. For those of you who don't know, OCS, the Oceanic Challenger Series, which is essentially Div 2 for League of Legends in the region, the Oceanic Premier League being the top. But this roster was top of last season.
And they made the qualifiers last season as well.
For promotion,
For promotion. So they've been in promotions 2 seasons now. Definitely a good side.
Absolutely.
But just a little bit off getting to the OPL, but I mean, great pickup.
And I mean, the first tweet that we saw come out of Crimson, Terry, was about they're coming after OPL 2018.
They've set the sights really high. They're going straight for OPL in 2018, like you were saying. But picking up this team is, like Lewis is saying, is a fantastic draw card for them. It opens up their, I suppose, their portfolio of gaming. With this, they can actually start moving into CSGO and other games as well.
Yeah, I mean, get a bit of brand recognition on the map, start building up a profile. The Twitter's relatively small, so if you are floating around on Twitter while watching the show, or even in the VOD later on when this is posted up, or if you're listening to us on SoundCloud later as well, have a search, Crimson Gaming. Can't remember the Twitter handle off the top of my head, but Go give them a follow.
I think it's Crimson Gaming.
I think it's Crimson Gaming, pretty sure.
Probably. But it's not too cryptic.
Well, they are Adelaide-based, so maybe we'll have to get someone from them in here.
Maybe. I did see some Crimson Gaming members filming stuff at Hybrid World Adelaide last week, so maybe it's we'll organise an interview in the coming weeks.
Yeah. You spent a bit of time down there, didn't you?
I did spend a bit of time down there. And I'm going to not comment on my time down there.
You had fun.
I did enjoy the event. The League of Legends High School thing was really cool.
That was amazing,
So, we've had League of Legends not only building in our region with this pickup, we've had League of Legends building at the grassroots level with high school initiatives starting up. Some of these high school clubs have got 50 to 70 members per high school of these high school kids that want to really get involved in League of Legends and the esports side of things. But we've also got LOL on the world stage happening at the moment.
Yeah.
And poor Fnatic Group B.
Group B, Fnatic, my heart goes out to them. They're currently standing on 1-4 at the moment.
Oof. Who else is in that group?
Okay, so
Longzhu's
you've got
in there.
Longzhu Gaming sitting on 5 and none. They're sitting perfect at the moment. Gigabyte Marines and Immortals are actually tied for second and third, depends how you want to look at it, and two wins and 3 losses each.
Right, okay.
Oh, Fnatic, what happened to you?
Fnatic have fallen. But look,
Very unfortunate.
Group B, Worlds is a massive event, and it's going to be continuing for months. Well, just under months now.
What will feel like an eternity.
Yeah, that's right.
It'll literally be an eternity.
Almost like the Cricket World Cup a few years back.
Yeah,
Almost.
It'll,
Just goes
on and on.
But we'll have more coverage of that. We're not going to talk too much about Worlds tonight.
No.
That's we've got more pressing matters to address.
Especially now that we are live, you can at the esports show, and at the end of the show, I think we're going to get into some of those tweets.
Yeah, well, we've got the tweets coming through. Terry's getting on the notifications and having a suss of what's going on. So if you've got any comments, any feedback, any little tidbits you want to add in while we're here live, just
Any
let
insults?
us know. Any insults, banter.
If we're completely wrong,
Let us know.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll let us know if we're completely wrong.
It's about 98% of the show, isn't it?
That pretty much. I think that's what the show's based on.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to call it the wrong show.
But it just... Then you're watching it and you're like, is this the right one? No, it's the wrong one. Moving on.
Jeez.
Blank Esports.
Oh my God.
Blank Esports, traditionally known for their Overwatch side in our region, have picked up Team Rock in WoW Arena. Red Bull Esports, and specifically Joe Gilroy, wrote an article about them. And WoW is a long-standing thing for you, Lewis. You've been an avid
I do like
Blizzard
me some WoW.
customer for some time.
Yeah.
First off, what's your thoughts on WoW Arena as an esport and this hitting the map?
I think it's underrated for me. I think it's definitely not at the level of where it could be. I mean, when it does pop up, it's got views, but on a non-Blizzard arena, like BlizzCon type of thing, it doesn't really exist as far as I'm aware. No, at least I haven't seen it.
No, it doesn't really register anywhere else with BlizzCon,
Yeah, like I loved playing it. I was shocking at it. I'm shocking at every esport. That's why I'm talking about it. But
if you can't do talk, right?
Yes.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And yeah, like I would love to see more when it pops up. Like, I mean, I'm a few years out of the game. I think, like I played Lich King and I think Burning Crusade was after that. I played a little bit of that and still really got into it. But then they nerfed the Shaman way too much. And that was I loved it. I loved it. And then all I did was play Arena with the Shaman with Beastmaster combo. And then they killed it and I went,
No.
Poor T-Ball.
Done.
Another one of his esports dreams dashed. looking at this pickup, they are Team Rock, now Blank Esports, or refer to them as Blank for consistency here. So Blank Esports pick up here in the WoW Arena side. They are APAC's top team because they have just won the APAC qualifier to head to BlizzCon. Prior to that, they actually came second in the Australian competition to head to the APAC qualifier. So it was second, then came first at the APAC, and now BlizzCon's their journey. So looks good for them. WoW Arena is traditionally played, or is played in 2 teams of 3, versing off against one another, 3v3 PvP combat. It's arena PvP battle, hence WoW Arena. Talking about the Blank side, they have a 4-man roster, 2 DPS, 2 healers.
Yeah, well, the heals can be quite complicated and very, very different as well, because you're going to want to take different heals in. If you take Druid heals compared to a Priest heals, it's wildly different.
And comes out with different effects. You want to be looking at that compared to potential team comps coming up against opponents as well, going, oh, okay, well, they run this way, let's run a Druid, let's run a Priest. But their DPS is consistent as well. And that's also part of the meta. So looking at meta, and the little bit of research I was able to do around WoW Arena at the moment is that, as what you said has mostly been for a while, is of course the 2 DPS 1 healer comp, but looking within the DPS, melee DPS.
You still see like Shadow Priests and Mages sometimes. I mean, they still come out, but you pretty much have to have at least a Rogue or something. Something
You
up
need a form of
close.
hard CC as well.
Oh, definitely. That's why Rogue's so good. And like a little bit surprised when you don't see one, but I mean, metas are so tight. Like, you have a team comp that works. Then you have another type of team comp that works, and you try and work those around each other, but it's really, really tight in
And the
there.
thing that Blank were talking about in their interview with Red Bull, they were saying that they're preparing to face a lot of mirror matchups. But they've actually had a lot of support from the region who are coming in, these other teams in APAC are scrimming with them and getting them prepped for counter picks, because they've had it in the past when you've got this melee DPS, then you've got hunters coming up against them, who are negating the melee damage, keeping that range, kiting them, and then all of a sudden can't get on their face, you've been countered.
Well, they're keeping the range, and like if you've got a bird or something as well, that can provide a bit extra CC and some other pets as well, so depending on what they use. And of course, changing regions, changing metas, it's all very different when you go overseas.
Yeah.
It certainly is. They will be competing at BlizzCon, so make sure you keep up to date with that. We'll be following Blank's WoW Arena team all the way through, and let us know what you think about WoW Arena. If you're a veteran of WoW Arena, if you've never heard of it before, tweet at us. We've got the tweets live here, and we'll have a look, see what you guys are saying. Having a look, moving forward for Blank.
Yeah.
They are also, or were in the Oceanic Pacific Championship for Overwatch, and unfortunately finished 3rd overall. They came up in the semi-finals against Ardent. Probably butchered the pronunciation of that, but ARDEONT. Yep. Semi-finals went down 4-0. Ardent would then go on to win the grand final 4-0 against Flash Wolves. But to take 3rd place, Hong Kong Attitude went down 4-2 to our boys at Blank.
Yeah, well, they're doing really good, especially as a OC team internationally. Kind of like a Renegade style where they only really play overseas.
Yeah.
I mean, except for World Cups or, say, Asia Minors, which we'll talk about later, they're playing overseas. They don't play in Australia. But yeah, doing really well. Really well, which is good to see.
It is.
But with Overwatch, you've got to chase it overseas. There's nothing here to really chase and build up from, like we've discussed on previous shows. I also saw the tweet they weren't satisfied with their 3rd placement. Now, 3rd placement in an Asian tournament and walking away with $33,000 US, it's not a bad effort for a sport that's been professional for maybe a year and a bit.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing effort from those guys.
And I think my favourite thing, how much was that prize pool in local currency?
In local currency, it was 8.3 million Taiwanese dollars.
I love it.
That's a lot of
Taiwanese dollar.
Taiwanese dollars, yes,
but
it was.
33,000 is what Blank walked away with.
Yeah, US dollars. So it's probably close to 38, 40 Australian.
Yeah.
So that's a good day's work.
That is a good...
Probably a month and a half's work.
A good tournament's work.
It's good
Good
tournament's
year's
work.
worth of tournament.
Building up to the OPC, eventually getting...
Yeah,
it's
but
a
I
good
mean,
build.
you come 3rd, and that's what you want to hear from a team, though, that they're not satisfied.
Yeah,
they want to get better. 1st is where we want to be. And then when we get 1st, we want to be 1st in other tournaments. That's what you want to hear from them.
Always want to be pushing. Don't get complacent. Don't sit there and be happy with 3rd.
You don't hear Legacy going, we're so happy we came 3rd in the OPL.
No, you don't.
Never,
Always
never.
On that push. Looking at H1Z1 for something a bit different. You brought my attention to this, Lewis. H1Z1 Pro League.
Pro League coming out.
Damn.
They've announced it. It'll probably be starting up next year.
Yes.
And they've actually come out with, like, just basically stating straight off the bat, a lot of player protection.
Yeah, so I've printed out some things, some points on the H1Z1 Pro League.
No way. You like getting into player protection?
Oh, good
out.
Lord.
Look out.
I think we should take a break.
Judges
Let him
on
go.
something. You guys, can I have the desk?
Yeah, no, just go
Thanks,
here,
thanks.
take the
You
laptop.
can have a crown if you want.
Cool. I'll just because we all know that this is my specialty. The H1Z1 Pro League has announced that they're going to have several different institutions amongst their league. First one is the Players' Bill of Rights. Players have the right to participate, to equal opportunities for success, to fair and equal governance, minimum compensation, which is one I really like, a right to share in leadership, and the right to appeal, which covers a lot of different things. So looking at this, the right to participate, as long as they meet standards, as long as they're, abiding by the rules, you're allowed to compete, is basically what that first
Sounds
right
like
is.
common sense so far.
So far, pretty common sense.
Yeah.
The right to equal opportunities for success. All teams have equal opportunity to play, to compete, and to move up. Pretty standard.
You'd hope so.
The right to fair and equal governance. This is where I kick in a little bit here.
Yep.
The thing that I really like about the H1Z1 Pro League is they've partnered with a secondary organisation, independent, who is running essentially adjudication.
Twin Galaxies? Is that?
Yeah, Twin Galaxies.
Okay.
So
Yep.
Twin Galaxies sits there, removed from it all, working closely with everyone, of course, but it's adjudication. They are here to make decisions when it comes down to it. I like that. Looking at the right to minimum compensation, H1Z1 Pro League has said players will be paid a minimum amount competing in this.
Good.
Trying to get some stability coming through. I like that. To share in leadership, another big one. There's actually going to be the governance committee run by player representatives. They're saying that it's going to be 5 players at the moment. There is going to be more than 5 teams, one would assume.
One
But
would hope, yeah.
you'd still 5 players on a governance board, a player advisory committee. I like that. Well
Yeah.
done. And then the right to appeal. You can appeal decisions made by the league as long as you can provide
Evidence.
That's right. It needs to be good evidence. It needs to come out and be substantial, but you can appeal it. So there's also going to be player agreement standards, which is now where I take my crown off, and Terry's laptop can have that back.
Blessed is the laptop.
Blessed is the laptop, all hail. But player agreement standards, it's something that a lot of leagues do in terms of enforceability. We've talked about it previously, Lewis, you and I, about fines that have rolled out from Riot regarding player agreements not being up to standard over in EU.
Yes.
With top-tier teams, wasn't good enough. H1Z1's following suit.
Yeah, well, I just like how H1Z1's put this out there saying we're going to protect players first up, and you get a minimum salary and all that.
Yeah.
It gives people incentive to jump off player unknowns and head back to H1Z1.
Yeah.
Where they can start playing that again to improve themselves. Because, I mean, a lot of people did jump over, even from CSGO. But
Yeah.
if
Heck,
you
even
actually,
some of the biggest Twitch streamers jumped from H1Z1 to PUBG, have complained about whether it's worth jumping back for various reasons. Just ask the doc, Dr. Disrespect. He's very vocal about the difference between the two of them and Fortnite.
I mean, if you like that game, it might be coming back. And especially as it's, I believe, still not in beta, where PlayerUnknown's is still early access.
It is. And looking at the kind of timeline for this as well, so League Conference is happening on the 20th of this month. There's an application window opening on the 23rd to get teams into this. Q1 of 2018 is when teams will be announced, and then the second quarter leading up to the halfway mark of next year is when league play will begin. So they are looking, for me, what I think is a reasonable timeline as well.
And not rushing it. Exactly, not rushing it. Nice, good timeline there. Ease players into the idea of going back to H1Z1 as well, especially if they really like it. There's money to be made. Get into it.
Yeah.
That's it. Terry, thoughts?
Well, like we said, H1Z1's been out for, 1-2 years?
Yeah.
It's almost like they've sat back. We didn't hear anything from them for quite some time, and they dropped this bombshell. It's like they've sat back
and they've had bits in the middle.
Yeah.
We have had events
everyone
go
else, make mistakes, and they're like, right, how can we adjust that? How can we address that? It's actually been a really smart move from these guys.
They've had Fight for the Crown, of course, and other invitationals that they ran at H1Z1, big events as well.
Big TV events too.
That's right.
Like 400,000 total viewers.
Yeah,
That's
which
good
was
numbers.
huge.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
looking at that and all things considered, I think for H1Z1, it hasn't been let's go out there and do a lot of trial and error like some games do when they come out and try and make an esports title. On the flip side, it hasn't been what other titles do and kind of sit on the back burner and really think these through for too long.
So, such as Overwatch?
No comment.
Let's
We've
just
been there.
Leave
Let's
that alone.
not.
Yeah,
No.
we'll leave that alone.
But you've mentioned PUBG, comparing it to H1Z1. Let's do a direct comparison here. PUBG's going to IEM Oakland.
They are for a big prize pool too. Is it 200k?
200,000 US. So first place taking 60k of that, and they're paying down to 8th.
And is that for the team? Like, is it a team or a
Yes.
solo?
So it is 20 teams, 80 players. So they're playing squads, and it will be played squads first person, not third person, which I like.
And
I
first
like a
person
lot.
is the more esportsy feel.
Don't lie, it is.
Oh, sorry,
it
yeah.
is.
Yeah, first
Arguably, first person is. Players disagree, and it's a constant argument that happens all over Twitter and in forums. Is third person better than first person? But interestingly enough, and this leads into the next thing I want to talk about with Grayhound Gaming picking up a PUBG team. So Sunbot actually interviewed Russell Extreme Walters, who plays on that side, about what the deal is with PUBG competitively, locally, globally, looking at meta about first person, third person and stuff. Extreme actually brought up the fact of the difference between first person and third person, and how camera angle is used a lot differently in third person, especially of point was in cornfields.
Oh yeah, because you
Proning
can
in the fields.
You can lay down in the field and corners as well, because you can look around corners.
That's
I
it. So,
believe.
and prone in the field, you still get a 360-degree view of yourself, whereas in first person, it's only 180.
And it's not the
range
most
movement.
high resolution game in the world either.
No.
So it
it's
is
not.
really difficult to see really anything.
It is, but PUBG at IEM Oakland, so that's going to be on November 18th to 19th. 10 teams have been invited, or will be invited, I should say. 5 confirmed already. The 5 being TSM, Team Liquid, Noble, Luminosity, and Alliance. 5 more teams are yet to be announced on their official page for the PUBG at IEM Oakland. And then 10 teams will qualify. 5 from NA, 5 from EU.
Just to confirm, those were teams of 4?
Those are teams of 4. So
Teams
it's
of
20
4.
teams total, 80 players.
Yep.
So
Yep.
4 players per team. Yeah, certainly is.
Cool.
But looking at Grayhound, they're making their move. PUBG is moving in our region.
Yep. Moving everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
What?
What are your thoughts about orgs like this? And you've got Mindfreak have picked up a roster. There's a couple of other orgs that have picked up teams. Servum's got players as well.
I think Corvidae might be in there too. I know Corvidae's got H1Z1. I think they're sort of one of
Maybe.
the only ones to have H1Z1.
Maybe. There's a lot of people that still do H1Z1 with Outback Arena, though, so we'd have to confirm.
I'm pretty sure-
Deborah,
I'm
if
pretty
you're
sure
watching,
Corvidae's in
tweet
there.
at us right now and just confirm whether
Yeah.
you guys have got a PUBG team for
Just
me.
like T-Ball's right. He knows what's going on.
That's it. T-Ball's down with the murder.
Exactly. Exactly.
But so PUBG, is it, we won't go too far into the rabbit
Yeah.
hole of, is this a competitive esport? Should this be running in our region? How should it be running? But what's your thoughts about clubs picking up players?
May as well.
Yeah.
There's a good market there. Pick them up early. It's always best to get in there early. We all know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely get in there. Pick some teams up. I mean, Greyhound's already in CSGO. I don't think they've got anything else.
CSGO, PUBG, that's it.
CSGO,
that's
PUBG.
it.
So at least they're branching out.
I was just
as
trying to
well.
think of the Twitter announcements that they had, and the most recent one I can only think of, other than the CSGO team moving over from Immunity, was the doggo
Yeah.
wearing H1's, not H1 PUBG gear.
PUBG gear.
In the GIF. That was good. But
Yeah, I think that's about the only. So that's their secondary team. It does at least branch them out and get them out there because they are a good org.
they are.
So it would be good to see them sort of get out there into more. Maybe there's some Rocket League teams out there.
Not that T-War has any preference of game and would like some more Tier 1 orgs in the Rocket League industry. That's no, I'm not saying
Of
that.
course not.
Why would we say that? No.
Terry, your thoughts on PUBG and Greyhound right now?
I mean, for me, it's not so much about the teams. It's actually about the game itself. Like it's under, it's just under a year old. It's still in, what was it, alpha? So
Early access.
Early
Early
access.
access.
Sorry, that's the new thing. Sorry, I'm far too much of an old gamer to say early access. But it's one of those things I've seen it played, and it looks buggy, glitchy, it looks unpolished, and why it's being taken to an esports arena is beyond me. But if the crowd's there and they want it, just give it to them then. And when it does eventually crash during a tournament,
Oh, well, come on. CSGO still crashes in tournaments.
yeah, but you got to remember, CSGO is based off of a mod of Half-Life 2, so you got to remember that. So it's actually backing off like a 20-year-old game as well.
Yeah, this had 20 years of testing.
This look, shut up. Let me
This
win
is
one.
circular, boys. This is a circular argument that goes nowhere. We end up getting flamed on Twitter for hating CSGO.
No, we don't hate CSGO.
We don't hate
We
CS:GO.
don't, but we'll get flamed for
We just hate
will.
when the servers go down.
it. Yeah, we do.
Which
But
is often and regular.
looking at the specifics of Greyhound picking up this PUBG team, looking at Extreme, he's played 1,200 hours. And his journey was basically looking at the leaderboards locally. Of course, they were only in third person for quite some time. We've only had first person leaderboards start to come up recently. So his thing was, right, third person, I want to get top 10 in the kill leaderboards. Which for me was interesting because when you look at the meta and the point systems that currently exist in PUBG competitive,
It's about places.
it's about placement. It's about how far you get surviving. Okay, premise of the game makes sense. But this kind of leads into another discussion about how boring and slow and tactical PUBG can be if you're just camping
Playing
in
for-
water, not getting shot.
Yeah, if you're playing for points, then everyone just camps, and I mean, it's good for position, but not the best to watch.
No, and that's the ongoing circular argument is PUBG is too slow, H1Z1's fast-paced and arcadey is one phrase used for it, that it's quick, over the shoulder, bang, go. I think that what Extreme's points were is that some people say slow, but that's really just a poor way of saying tactical.
Yeah.
Because PUBG is very much about that tactical base, because you need to move and cover a large distance of map, depending on where you drop.
Also, we didn't really touch on this at the start. If you have no idea what H1Z1 and player unknowns
plan.
are, it's basically like the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Except instead of, being a tribute for your region, your sector, you voluntarily parachute out of a plane to fight in this battle arena.
Yeah. Well, there's
online.
other movies with voluntary ones, so
There
Yes.
is.
But that's the basic. That's the basic
It's
premise.
a battle arena. The map
area
gets smaller
closes.
as it goes on, so that as people get taken out, and
You're forced into a confrontation at the end of the day.
That's it. You're
Yeah.
forced in, and then we actually have some competitive work, and it's good as well. Because can you imagine if you just camped in the fringes of the map permanently and nothing forced you to move center?
Yeah.
7-hour game.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
Yeah.
It was good looking at Sunbot's interview. He asked some very good questions, and I got to give him credit on that because he really drew a lot of information out of Extreme here. Talking about scoring, which is, again, heated, like we said. Extreme said, in terms of the scoring system, I don't know how they're going to combine the kills and placement, but at the end of the day, it is a battle royale game, and to win the battle royale, you need to get kills. So there should definitely be an influential factor. How much of a factor, I don't know. Terry, thoughts on kills?
I agree. It has to be a factor in the overall points score system of the game. Like, I haven't played a lot of the game. I've seen you stream it. I get bored within 10 minutes. I'm sorry. But
That's
no,
just his stream.
That is
just his
generally
stream.
my Twitch.
No, but if it's a factor in the game, it has to be built into like the final, the end game when that circle comes in. So it's going to have to be factored in somehow. So
one thing that was mentioned, because if you look at the way that competitive scene plays at the moment, not just locally but globally as well, kills are largely irrelevant in the score system. If you come through and get 50 kills, take out half of the server, it's largely irrelevant. One thing that was discussed in this interview as well is whether PUBG should adopt a system like it did early in its first season of leaderboards, in that kills as they progress in the game are worth more. You get 5 kills early on, not worth as much. You get a kill in the top 10, worth way more. Similar system what H1Z1's got and has had for quite some time. Lewis, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. You have to reward later ones more because, I mean, at the start, no care. It's a lot of RNG based as well. So I don't mind that. It is a complicated structure, but if you take out half the server, you should be rewarded for that as well.
Yeah.
Even taking out 10% of the server.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the scoring and you go, okay, well, 100 points for winning, then taking out 10% of your competitors should probably be worth akin to what it's worth winning.
Yeah. But again, the sort of premise of the game is a survival game, so then it kind of turns into a run and gun as well, with lots of people trying to get more kills. So you want it in there, but it's got to be balanced for positions as well.
And I think for me, it's going to be something that goes over time. We mentioned just before about how CSGO's built off the back of Source and 1.6 and back in the day, a mod. Looking at that and the timeline that we've had for improvement here, which is constantly going, PUBG's new.
Yeah, it is.
It'll get there in time. And it comes to balancing, comes to player feedback. If you're watching us right now, or you're watching the VOD later, or you're listening to us on SoundCloud, make sure you tweet at us at the Esport Show.
Yeah,
the Esport Show, because...
Damn it, Twitter.
Yep. And let us know what you
things.
think about PUBG and H1Z1 and the way scoring's done comparing the two of them. Asia Minor, Tibor.
All right, now we start to get to the juicy
We're
stuff, I
juicy.
suppose.
This is juicy.
Starting to get into
tonight.
the drama of the week.
We are.
So, well, first up, the E-League announced the major for Bastion in January next year. So, since they run every 6 months. Now, they've announced it at the same time as the ROG Masters. They announced it on the 5th of October, giving 20 days warning for the teams to get there.
Okay.
Private jets.
So, leagues have been running as well overseas. I mean, we'll get into what's happened with the CG League later.
Hence, Happy Meals.
Get it later. You'll understand. You'll get it.
Exactly. But it's good that they've come out, announced it. OCE is represented.
Yes, it is.
However, there's a lot of sort of conjecture about how it has come about. Last season, it was open qualifier. So open qualifier for OCE, then they went overseas to then compete in the Asia one. Now they've just invited, 3 OCE teams if we can call one of them still an OCE team, but they do have 3 OCE players, they just don't play here.
Renegades. For those of you that aren't aware, Renegades were an all-Australian, or all ANZ side, I should be clear, moved to the US to pursue their Counter-Strike careers. They now have 3 members who are from the ANZ region left on the side. According to Valve rules, they can't compete in qualifiers and such in NA because a majority of their player base is ANZ based. That means they're here. That means that they compete here. So yes, technically for the minor, we have 3: Kings, Renegades, and Tainted Minds.
And Tainted Minds. So it's good to see like Tainted Minds and Kings there, definitely. But there's a lot of sort of who should be there, because top 5, top 6, they can all beat each other.
They can.
So it would have been really good to just watch the sort of dogfight there, even if it was for no prize money. Like it would have been good to watch.
It'd be a great grudge match, yeah.
Absolutely. And the teams locally love fighting it out against each other week in, week out to try and prove who's best, who's doing well at the moment, who needs to improve, who needs to get back on form. I think that I agree with a lot of people, and I understand that formats for these kinds of tournaments change, and we flip and flop from being on open quals to closed quals and stuff like that as leagues establish themselves, and wildcard regions for different games earn their position on the world stage. Okay, maybe we need to afford them a couple extra seats to be able to get to the world stage. I get that, and changes are good because it means that we're updating and we're trying to be on the ball. But I just, when we had open, and I don't know whether it's an issue of infrastructure, I don't know whether it's an issue of not enough time to get an open qual done.
Well, I mean, they're running these pretty early.
That's
right. So, yeah, it does look like they've run out of time.
And, okay, that's fine, because obviously we've got the Christmas break. People go, it's in January, but we also got to count out the start of January, December, and most of the back end of November as well. Like, the whole month of December's out. That's 4 weeks.
We're already in October. It's straight there.
That's right, and coming to the end of October as well. We're in the second half of this month. So, if that's the reason I haven't gone opens, I understand that. Logistically, that's a nightmare. But it does, unfortunately, mean and teams get less of a place to fight for their rights.
Yeah.
Certainly does. Now we move into the issue of...
Well, I thought I might bring up Zowie.
Conflict. Yep.
Zowie's on.
Zowie Extremes Land?
Yes, so Zowie Extremes Land. Kings Gaming Club will be attending Zowie. That's going to be in Shanghai from the 19th to the 22nd of October.
Yep.
And that team will be competing against the best that's on offer at the event for a share of the $100,000 USD prize pool.
And that's like less than a week before the major, or the minor.
Yes.
Which you qualify for the major, 26th to the 29th. So that's only 4 days after.
Yes.
So, well, the Kings are in both, so they got a few days to get themselves over there.
They do, they got some time.
Yep. So, well, then we've got a little bit of a break. Oh, E-League and ROG are on there. As well, ROG's on at the same time. Atletico's going over there.
They are.
And then you've got another week or so until CGP, so on the 4th and the 5th. Now, this is where the drama of the week has surfaced.
It has.
Now, I'm going to say this straight up. Kings have been completely professional about this in every way, shape and form.
Absolutely. And I can testify to that personally. I've had discussions with David myself about what's going on in this situation. I've had talks with CG. Of course, full disclosure, I am CG staff as well.
Well, I get paid by CG too.
Yeah, well, so do you with casting. But this is, full disclosure, we're not coming either side here talking about, buggy you, you're unprofessional or any of that.
Sort of addressing the larger Twitter debate and Reddit debate and all that jazz, because there's a lot of hate coming out for a lot of different sides.
There is. And I applaud the people that have come out and said, good on you. This has been dealt with respectfully at the end of the day. If the TO and the teams are in discussion, they agree, hey, this is the rules, this is how it is, cop it on the chin and do it respectfully, good on you, because that's how it should run.
Yep, certainly right. But, so the ruling we're talking about is the Kings Gaming Club have pulled out of the CyberGamer Premier League.
That's right. So AOC, the title sponsor for that, AOC CyberGamer Premier League for spring 2017. That's the current season. We're heading into the final weeks of that now.
We certainly are. Now, they were a little bit behind in their games to start with. There was a week that sort of got confusing because of the ROG Masters, which we also ran out of here. So it was kind of like play games in your own time.
Yeah.
But they were behind from week 1 as well. And they just didn't feel that they had enough time to get in those games.
So to look at this, there's the official post that's gone up on the CyberGamer forums addressing the Kings GC ban.
Yep.
It reads, for the most part, paraphrasing a little bit here, they've officially withdrawn from CGPL, effective immediately as of the post. It was official as of the post, but they had done that prior through communication with tournament admins. According to rule number 2.9 in the official Pro Handbook for 2017, which, might I add, the handbook gets updated. So people are on Twitter, on the forums, having a go, saying, why is this different? Look at the precedent was set over 12 months ago, 18 months ago, with a similar situation, different circumstances.
With immunity.
That's right, immunity. Immunity couldn't go to a LAN, did not provide a valid reason or any good reason. CG said, right, take a season off. This is 2 seasons now, there is reasoning. Rules get updated. CG's updated them, and they have their reasons behind that for whatever, competitive integrity, however you want to go with that. But the rule reads, teams may not exit the league early under any circumstances. Doing so will result in a 2-season ban for all players on the roster. And as such, the entirety of the Kings GC roster has received a 2-season ban from all CyberGamer events and leagues. This includes AEM, if they were to play in that. They cannot play in anything CG. Even if they want to drop to open ladder, not allowed.
Or play Call of Duty.
That's right.
Done.
Nothing on CyberGamer, not just CSGO specific.
Which is unfortunate. I mean, CyberGamer didn't want to do it.
No. Nobody wants this to happen.
No, and like we wanted to cast them. Like we wanted the viewers to have what's there. I mean, it does make the lower half a bit more interesting now.
Certainly does.
But it wasn't something that wanted to be done by either party. Kings didn't want to have to pull out. They just, they stated they wanted to focus on the minor. I mean, it is very, very soon. And it is a very big opportunity. Tainted Minds, they are taking a different route. I mean, they don't have Extremes Land.
No.
But they are taking a different route. I think they're flying straight back and boot camping. Potentially. Not too sure on that.
A little up in the air, but at this stage, we know for certain nobody else has pulled out of CGPL. And Kings, the reason cited was they were invited to the Asian Minor directly after their event in China for Saui, or Extremes Land. After looking at our schedule, trying to make it all work, we came to the sad conclusion we can't finish the season of CGPL. We're extremely sorry that we have to do this, but with the surrounding circumstances that have fallen on us, we see no other option. As a result of this, we accept any consequences that may come of this decision, and whatever the result, we still thank you for allowing us into your league in the first place. So it's pretty plain and simple, King's reasoning there. Thanks. Unfortunately, we can't see it in our schedule. We can't see how we're going to make this work, so we're going to have to pull out, and we'll cop that on the chin. That's as simple as it is.
It sucks, but it was handled professionally by both sides.
Terry, you're a man that's outside of this.
I'm pretty much
completely.
well. It's one of those things. Like, when was the was immunity? Were you saying that like
March last year?
March last year. So it's been a full year, and new rules have been a year and a half.
We've already had 2 seasons this year as well, autumn and winter.
Yep. So in other words, you've had to redo the rule book. They've been updated, and unfortunately for Kings, they're the first club through the door that's had to suffer this consequence. I can almost guarantee that, like, if I was in CG's position, I wouldn't want to ban them because they're a top tier team. They bring a lot of viewership in. But unfortunately, being the first team through the door, they set a precedent for anyone else. You can't just go, well, you sent your apologies and a gift basket, thank you. But, you know.
What would be in a CSGO team's gift basket?
A lot of energy drink and nuts, I'd assume.
Okay, cool.
But the bottom line here is, like, you can't, like, for the first people who break the rule, you can't literally give them a slap on the wrist and say, we'll see you next season and all the best. You've got to literally enforce that rule so the rest of the organisations know that you're serious. And it is unfortunate, and like social media blew up, and that's fantastic for all the keyboard warriors out there, but at the end of the day, they're not the ones dealing with the problem.
And CyberGamer also has to protect their brand.
Absolutely.
And sponsors, because it does affect viewership numbers, it affects casting hours, it affects a lot of things across the board.
That's the thing, you consider the fact that now, and whether this happens start of the season, end of the season, now for these remaining matches in league play, they're being missed out on. And people have cited on Twitter and on the forums saying, oh, well, who cares about broadcasting? Why don't you save money and not broadcast and get better anti-cheat? Or get an anti-cheat? Because, of course, it's that simple. CG spends millions of dollars developing casting instead of developing their own anti-cheat.
Wow, millions?
Millions. That's why we're here.
Where's
sitting
my
in
mansion?
Suits.
Sorry, no, that's millions in Vietnamese dong. That's maybe, sorry.
But looking, the point of it all is that does severely affect things because sponsors, AOC, the title sponsor, is paying to have their brand on this, is paying for hours and minimum viewership numbers and stuff like that.
And all the other sponsors there.
That's right, Netgear, Nighthawk.
Predator.
Yeah, that's right. So moving forward, these brands are going to be keeping CyberGamer accountable and saying, hey, you had executables that you had to meet. You have a responsibility to us. CG now loses, and God forbid if this was earlier in the season, CG loses one match a night.
Yeah, it's only happened for kind of like the last two, but I mean, there would have been more matches in there if they made their make-up matches. However, I do want to bring it back to the point of this rule isn't only for this situation. Like people are seeming to think that it's just for teams that are dropping out going for international lands.
No.
Which it's not. It's mostly, in my eyes, for teams that are doing really badly and then just want to drop out because they're done.
What's the point of playing the rest of the season? We can't even make land.
Yeah, and I mean, that happened in the Rocket League one. A team like 2 weeks ago just went, nah, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
That's it. And so it's aimed to provide competitive integrity. And at the end of the day, that's what CG stuck to. And I'll support that because they have a rule book, the rules are there, the players sign on and agree to those rules every season. And the clubs agree to abide by those rules every season. If this was a problem, then the clubs could have turned around and disputed it and said, can we reduce that? Can we negotiate this rule book? Can we X, Y, Z?
Look, for competitive integrity, look what the OPL had to do at the start of the year with XL5.
Yeah.
Because they went into administration, unfortunately. But those games still needed to be played.
That's right.
So Riot had to step in and sort of
stepped in, took over, actively sought new management, actively sought getting that spot filled and replaced and new owners and everything.
Like, that's how difficult it is, and CyberGamer can't go do that. It's not a league like that, so they're just sort of left without a team.
At the end of the day, decisions made. Kings made their decision, came to CG and presented it and said, look, we'll cop it on the chin. Cool, thank you. We respect you and what you do at CG. We respect your rule set. Hence, we're saying this, we're not just walking off the face of the earth.
It sucks that it had to happen.
Absolutely.
But they didn't feel they could meet their obligation, so they've respectfully pulled out.
And at the end of the day, CG said good luck. Like, there's no bad blood between these two.
No
They've said, we see that this is the obligation that's on both of us here. Sorry that it has to be this way. CG says good luck to you. You know, hope that you do our region proud. Because 100%. Everyone's backing these teams that are going over and representing our region internationally. So there's no reason to have bad blood against them. It's just CG does have to look after their brand in their league here.
They do. But I mean, Sicko actually came out and said that he wasn't a huge fan, even though they got invited. He wasn't a huge fan. He felt that Greyhounds were robbed. He said that in a little article. But we do actually have some vision of the Kings Gaming Club when they found out that they were going through.
Really? Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Do we have any other vision? Anyone else having a look and think about the minor?
Yeah, we've also got the Chiefs.
Oh, God.
You're a shocker.
I thought Judge was bad.
No, that's, wow. Okay.
He's the one you've learned it from.
No, not even that.
Oh, God.
Well played. We've now got our own Peter Hellier on the Esports show. Thanks, Tibor. For more discussion around Kings, of course, you can head over to the CyberGamer forums. Get active on Twitter. Tweet us at the Esport Show. There's no extra S in there, unfortunately. Blame Twitter. And have a conversation with us about what you think regarding that whole situation.
Yeah, certainly right. I mean, it's already been on a bit. I think we were trying to just explain.
I think so.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know the full story from both sides. So hopefully we can inform people out there.
Hopefully we can. One thing, moving on to happier news, is Avant Gaming. They've partnered with Bastion Live. One thing I do want to point out to clarify here in the wording of these announcements, yes, they've partnered with Bastion Live, but this is an investment, and we're seeing another top-tier organisation be invested in our region. Yeah,
so not a purchase, not like a legacy-type deal with the Adelaide Crows, but definitely investment coming in, which is fantastic to see. I mean, Avant is one of my favourite brands in the Oceanic region. They do amazing social media. They probably win the social media game for me. Up there with Sin. Sin does well as well.
Sin's very good on their socials.
Sin, it's a very different style.
It is.
Very different style.
But, I mean, you have to adapt when you've got a 600 IQ, 6'4", outsmiting brilliance in Jews.
He's got a crowdfunding to get him a T-shirt.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, you have to adapt when you're gifted the god of Oceanic, or not just Oceanic, but worldwide jungling in League of Legends. You have to make use of that on your socials.
Yeah, certainly.
Terry, you look awfully disappointed.
Oh, God. It's become that show.
It has.
It has. Oh, good lord.
Yeah, but Avant do amazing social media, as we said,
They
and good exposure and more money in.
They rivaled your Avant rivaled your Maxibon, I should say, their
Yes.
title sponsor, rivaled your meat sticks with some of their own.
They did. They were more like sort of ice cream,
Dessert skewers.
Dessert toothpicks.
I must have missed something.
They weren't the swords that I had. I'd love to see the swords still. I mean, that would be nice. Send me some Maxibons. I'll make some full-size swords. But
Yeah.
I still love the concept. It was absolutely brilliant. So thank you, Maxibon, for that little tweet.
And it's that brand interaction that we talk about as well. It's not just that Avant is the organisation of great socials, but their sponsors also chime in and key in with their socials as well for their own activation, which I think is brilliant.
And to explain for people that don't know, like probably Terry here, because more people should be following my Twitter.
Should.
At Table Time. Yeah.
I like that. That was cute,
yeah.
guys.
I had two basically swords full of meat to go on an open fire. There was a kilo of meat on each as the skewer. So then Maxibon tweeted back at me with some cut up Maxibons
on their own
on a metal skewer and said, "Is this dessert or something?"
It was beautiful.
That's amazing.
Talking about Bastion Live, so Ben Selinger, the executive director of Bastion Live, had this to say, and I quote, "At a time when millennials are moving away from traditional media, cutting cables, blocking pop-ups, using divergent media sources, streaming, torrenting, and otherwise consuming content when, where, and how they want it, there is no more effective platform to reach and engage deeply with this market segment globally than through esports." And god damn, I think he's right.
I do as well. And there was a podcast from esports lawyer in America, Bryce Blum.
I love Bryce Blum.
Yep. He came out and he actually changed my mind on this, saying that esports, because I used to think that esports needed to make it to television to get exposure. I really don't think so anymore, because of that fact that it's all consumed mostly from the mobile. I mean, I watch all the baseball and NFL from my mobile on the apps. I watch Twitch mostly on my mobile. I watch it sometimes on my computer, but very, very rarely. And if I do, it's on one screen, and then on something else, I'm probably playing a game.
Yeah, or working on something, or multitasking.
Although I do watch it on TV because I Chromecast it.
Yeah, that's
from
right.
my mobile
To your television,
TV.
still on Twitch.
Still on Twitch.
That's it. Look, talking about Bastion Live, they are a part of Bastion Collective, a unique group of communication agencies and advisory businesses that work together or individually to help clients form meaningful connections with their target audiences. They have a massive group of different companies that handle all sorts, from stadium management and events running and stuff like that, looking at esports, marketing, all sorts. So not only is this a good move to get some investment into Avant as well and what they can do with that capital, but I feel that this is also a great move for Avant with this pairing. Avant's really good on their socials. You've got this group that is so good at connecting in different spaces that Avant can capitalise on that, and vice versa. Bastion can feed through further opportunities to Avant.
Yeah, certainly right. I love the move. Well, I like that they're finally getting investment. I mean, all the OPL teams are going to get it at some stage. I think most have.
That now makes 6 out of 8.
6,
I believe.
So who are we still waiting
Chiefs
on?
and Regicide.
Chiefs and Regicide.
I wonder who's going to be the expensive one out of the two of them.
I've been waiting for this deadpan dry humour to come in from you, and that was sarcastic as hell.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I'm still blown away by that statement. Sorry, I interrupted, but yeah, that's
good.
Like, it's kind of one of those things where, like, I read this story and I was extremely happy because, like, when I started gaming, it was you'll never do anything with gaming. You'd have to develop a game, and now here we are, and old school kind of guys from marketing firms going, right, we've got to convince these advertisers who've got very old thinking that this new way of media coming through is the way to go.
Point that we've discussed as well on the flip side of that, other side of the coin going, is this good, is whether these investors actually know what they're investing in. because that was one thing, touching again on the podcast that Bryce Blum was on, he highlighted that as well, is that you need to be careful, because if we're getting these non-endemics in, promising them that every single esports event looks like IEM Sydney or Oakland.
That was actually Thorin.
Thorin said that, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. If you keep doing this, non-endemics are going to come in and get burned and walk away from esports. And repairing that bridge is hard.
I'm done with that. And it's easy, because, I mean, a lot of those pictures are from events where people got to go into free.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Changes the landscape. But looking at this, Avant, like we said, we can't praise them enough on the work they've done. They've got a very positive brand as well in this space. Not a lot negative gets said about Avant. Maybe if they could do a little better in performance, then we wouldn't rip into Zach and Brucey as much and give them heaps when we catch up. But they are a very good org. They work hard. Their social activation's great. So
I will say as well, for teams, winning isn't everything in a franchise model.
Oh yeah.
Outside of a franchise model, you have to win. Outside of like basically anything CS:GO, you just have to be winning all the time. As soon as you drop off, you're poo and no one cares.
Yeah.
In a league, sort of league format, a franchise format. I mean, the teams at the bottom of the AFL still get their money every year. I mean, it can be a struggle for some teams.
Absolutely.
With attendance. I mean, they're still making money. You still got your diehard fans. You got to get in there. You got to build your fan base, and that's what you can do within the OPL. And so even if Avant, like they're getting there, they're sitting on that 4th to 5th area. They're just making the cutoff, like to get to the gauntlet, but they're not having to play the eliminations as well. I mean, they're in a good spot right now. Like, yes, they want to do better. But
of course.
Sitting at that 4th to 5th isn't so bad. I mean, they can still build from that.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, they have built already without having top teams in every single game title in every single place that they can. Avant does well, and that in itself is credit to the organisation. And they wouldn't be getting investment if they weren't worth it.
Yeah.
No.
Like, none of the investors that have come into esports to buy these clubs or invest in these clubs in our region have failed their due diligence. They know exactly who they're investing in.
Yep.
Crows did an unfathomable amount of research and due diligence. I know ESE for Abyss did a lot of work and continue to do work in terms of how they extend their investment, what they look at for expansion and stuff like that. And I would like to say, assumedly, that it's the same for the rest of them. Guinevere with Direwolves, I assume that Rippy's pushing with Dave Harris to try and get more things. So when you look at this investment, it's building the scene. And as long as these people are coming in informed, then we're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, even the AFL's taking a slower approach. I mean, they said, we want to run tournaments at Etihad Stadium next year. And then they come out with a new article.
Well, that's what we can talk about that now.
I think we may as well move
I think we
over
can. So AFL clubs considering esports. This has come out on Fox Sports Online. They've put out an article. And the 4 teams that are considering esports listed, Carlton, Collingwood, Essendon, and Port Adelaide. But that 4th one is interesting.
Yep.
Port Adelaide actually investing a lot of time and money and effort in China.
Yes.
So we might not actually see them, and this is all speculation.
That's the speculation.
But we might not actually see them invest locally for esports.
Well, that is because they've got deals with China.
They do.
For going over there and playing games, which was, I'm pretty sure, successful.
Yeah, no, it was
largely
really
successful.
Yeah, they packed out the stadiums. Yeah.
You have what, 10,000?
Just it's a packed out stadium. Doesn't matter if
Packed
it's
out. Sold out.
Yeah, done. Just give them
Put the
something.
cushion
It
on
was the
seat.
best stadium in sold-out stadiums for AFL history in China. All right.
Well,
And someone else paid for it, I'm sure.
It was the best. It was the only. But they also had to modify a field for it because they don't have cricket pitches and they don't have
Footy fields.
Footy fields.
Footy fields.
No,
they don't have ovals.
modified
It's all
soccer pitch, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll go with the soccer pitch.
Probably like a athletic stadium, I'm going to say.
Okay.
I think it would have been an athletic stadium.
Okay.
But in saying that, Carlton, Collingwood and Essendon,
Yep.
even if we assume that Port Adelaide are not going to be investing locally, we hope they do, and you know, we want them to, but if they don't, or if we just look at those other 3 names, you and I were talking about this earlier, we're running out of space.
Yep.
We are, because who's the first they want to go to? They want to go to the consistent franchise model. And who's that? The OPL. And right now, so you said we got 2 left.
2 left. Regicide and Chiefs. Regicide, who got promoted into the OPL.
Yeah,
and Chiefs for a long stay.
They survived relegations last season.
That's right.
But they're kind of a scary one that could go either way. Because, I mean, you do have the Crimson Gaming there now, previously Outlaws. They're the team sort
Outlaws were nipping at their heels last season.
Nipping at their heels. There was still a bit of a gap there. But, I mean, it can always change. Like, players jump in skill gaps, huge amounts, especially at this level.
Yep.
And so maybe that's like an iffy one. So I mean, you're looking at, what was it, Tainted Minds is about?
Tainted Minds, so it's not. It's still three teams aren't invested in.
Okay.
Because team's been a funny situation because Tainted Minds LOL is invested in.
Different.
But that's not Tainted Minds, that's TM Gaming. That's a big topic and that we don't have time for tonight.
Yeah.
But Tainted Minds, everything else other than LOL.
So they've completely split.
No. Like I said, complicated. Like I'd need to go talk to Sav. This is like that whole situation's largely complicated.
It involved a large whiteboard and a flowchart.
It would involve a whiteboard, a flowchart, and probably some graphical work. Maybe even some stickman animations to explain and navigate that. But Tainted Minds, for the rest of it, as far as I'm aware, aren't invested because it's just TM Gaming locked up with Let's Play, like LPL, Let's Play Live from New Zealand and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but looking OPL, there is only 2 left. Looking top tier organisations in the region, there are still a few free, but it feeds into your point of they want to get into that franchise money first.
Yep.
Yeah.
Leaves one other than Regicide.
I suppose with the investments, there's kind of room for a purchase because it does sort of make it more appealing as well. If your team's already got investors and they can still remain there as an investment company, but you come in and purchase it, I think there's things that could work.
It can
there.
work and it can go over the top.
Complicated.
Again, complicated. It's whether those investors want to give up their shareholdings, depends on how much of a shareholding they have. Do they have a majority and they're in control of whether those shares are sold for a buyout to a club?
Are they happy with what a club would bring?
That's right.
Is it something that they couldn't?
But in terms of clean break, let's go in, buy or invest in an organisation. For OPL, there's 2, Chiefs and Regicide. And like you said, with the turmoil, Regicide have stuck in, but they're not a proven staying power. Chiefs is.
Yep.
Yeah, and across the board, over multiple esports, they'll have very likely ROCS team, because they should make it.
Rocket League Championship Series, for those who don't know.
Rocket League, because they should qualify first in OCE. I'd be surprised if they don't.
Yeah.
If they don't make it, it'll be an absolute travesty.
Absolutely.
We'll find you crying in a corner somewhere, I'm sure.
Fetal position.
Or the Chiefs players.
or Torsos, Jake and Drippe. But that aside, Chiefs are a long stay as an esports brand.
Yeah,
and that's where these investments will look to get in. Yes, there is room elsewhere. We can get your Kings, your Grayhound, although they've got their structure already in terms of their funding and stuff. There's potentially wiggle room there. And then looking elsewhere, your Dark-Sided, they're a top org in terms of reach as well as performance. Across titles, there's another organisation that's able to be picked up from some large investment for relatively good ROI as well. That's the big thing here. There's plenty of organisations that are good in our region in terms of management and stuff. Yeah. But this is a business transaction. We're talking about return on investment.
Yeah, certainly right. So there's definitely teams out there that could go out there. I mean, I suppose there's even Atletico, but that's another kettle of fish. They've got their own sort of media group or management group or whatever they call it now. So, like, there's another option, I suppose. And, I mean, yeah. So, there are teams there.
There is.
But, I mean, if you want to jump to the top, now you're pretty much left with Chiefs.
Yeah.
If you want an OPL team, it's Chiefs. Yeah. Because, like we said, Regicide are a bit unstable. And right there's a list of 340 clubs looking to get in. So if all 3 of them are going to be fighting over the last spot, I mean, that'd be great for Chiefs. Leverage the heck out of it between the 3 of them. Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure I saw NRL teams trying to get in. There was an article, I can't say which one, so don't take it as gospel, but I'm pretty sure NRL was looking at it too, going, hey, AFL likes something.
Yeah, we'll go with that too.
I think we might try out this. But
well, try their luck.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's build a team.
Yeah. That's it. That's the other option. Yep. Which is something interesting. We talked about this with Steve before the show, in that if you're looking just to enter right now, not looking at end of contract buying out teams and stuff like that, but enter right as of tonight, there's no reason why you couldn't come out there, and it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of time spent on finding management, finding the right players who are free agents, and building, building a roster that could work as an investment.
Well, there's also brands out there, I'm going to use this one because it comes to mind, but like Corvidae, right? I mean, you got Margin de Bora does very good things managerially.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he gets in there, like, as I said, I think he's got a H1Z1 as well.
They have
goes
H1.
out diversely.
Yeah.
And he's got, like, I mean, he had a team that almost made the CGP. It just got kicked, it just missed out to the now, the BRB 20 side. What did they turn into? Sin. So they just lost out to Sin. I mean, so Corvidae's right there as well in a lot of sports, and they did have a top-tier Rocket League.
Well, and they sent people over to QuakeCon, and you know,
yeah, certainly.
Corvidae and teams akin to that club are diverse, and that's where they
Jam
can
as
leverage.
well.
Oh, throw on pens.
Jam as well.
Jam as well. That's right. So looking at that is another option.
Yeah.
But that's a long-term building option.
So these are long-term building options, and they're also like, I love their branding. I'm not going to say go change their brand, and sorry margins, but they're also opportunities where you could get good management people if you wanted to come in with lots of money and build a brand.
That's right. It's an opportunity for, and the thing is with these investments is they can go a whole different ways. An investment is a conversation here, where the investor comes in and says, we want to give you this, but we want this in return from you. And as the person being invested in, you have options. You don't just got to go, like that, yeah, let's go, or no, don't like that, catch you later. You can come back and say,
Back and forth.
but our branding is strong in this, as you should know with your due diligence, that this is what we've built here and this is the way it works, and build something together, because smart business people that are doing this kind of investment aren't going to want to be coming in, grabbing it, taking over and saying, catch you later, esports, we know how to run esports. Because none of them are doing that.
No.
They're all sitting there, like even the Crows, they know sports, they know footy really well. They know how to run a club very well in a sport.
Well, top women's side, they won it.
Yep.
Crows second, like the men's team come second.
Cry much, but that's okay.
Yeah, we Cries won.
But they still don't. It's very much business as usual. And they have made changes in management structure. Carbon stepped off of the legacy LOL team and came out. He's now head of esports, I think is his title.
Esports
technically,
director,
something along those lines.
Yeah.
He does big things in esports for the Crows.
Something esportsy.
That's it.
And businessy.
And businessy. Ooh, look out. So, but these changes come through, but they're not looking to go, thanks for all of this, and we do what we want with it now.
Yeah. See, we're talking about the long game and how hard it is to build your own club, but look at the clubs that you just reported on. Is Carlton, Collingwood, Essendon, and the Pan. All right. So all those clubs have been established over 50 years.
Yeah. So
even with Port Adelaide with SNFL, so they know how to play the long game. They know how to go, right, I know nothing about this, but I have a big wad of money. He knows about it. Give him some of the money and let him sort it out.
And he can do a little bit of the sorting.
Yes.
And when he sorts, we put money in different spots with his big pile.
Yes, that's basically, they know how to play the long game.
They do.
So there's the option of building your own team is a very easy option for them actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, they've built teams in the past.
That's right.
That's where they are.
Yeah.
And look at that. Some of them even made it from lower leagues into franchise leagues because they built such a following, and it was worth bringing them in. You know, you're looking at teams like Port Adelaide.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, all three of us sitting here think that this kind of investment's a good thing. And it does have its concerns, of course, as we've mentioned. But at the end of the day, unless we get this kind of money coming in, we're not going to grow as a region. We're not going to develop because we're not going to have the resources available.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think on Twitter as well, at the Esport Show. No S in there. It's show with an S. And because Twitter and all of our socials didn't quite like the double S. Except for Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch was fine.
We love
checked out,
Twitch. We love you.
We checked out Twitch and we were like, yeah, it's fine there, so let's go. And Facebook lets you have anything. So.
Yeah, Facebook's like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Not Twitter.
But Twitter, maybe once we get the little blue tick, hopefully,
maybe
then we can...
maybe a little blue tick?
Yeah, maybe then they'll look at it. Cause
haven't you done well?
Yeah, they didn't do well with my application for getting just straight T-Bor.
No, that's hence T-Bor time, which we all despise except you.
Good old T-Bor out there who's done... there's a lot of esports people out there that have said the same. He's got no tweets, no followers, follows like one person, which is himself. He's literally just made the accounts and left it like 3 years ago.
And
did you
on
annoy
next
3
week's
years ago?
episode, watch as I reveal that I took that account from T-Bor.
We wouldn't be shocked.
Do we have anything come through? Have you been able to scour
Look,
the
they're becoming a
esports show?
thick and fast. Actually, surprising amount of hate for PUBG. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on there, but people don't like PUBG as much as we think.
No.
No.
Well, there's so much good press about it. Is it the CSGO killer? Well, every game is the CSGO killer.
killer.
Overwatch was the CSGO killer.
Yeah. Well, look, it was nice and shiny when it first came out. Then we're like, hey, let's do grassroots. No.
No, don't go
Blizzard
there.
says no.
What else have we got, Brent?
So we're getting a lot of feedback from our other compatriots over in the East Coast. AK's been in there left, right, and centre. He's actually suggesting we make an arena team.
Oh, yeah.
No. I'm old. Mechanics are bad.
My
That's
mechanics
true.
were never good.
I've never really got my hands greasy with mechanics.
You haven't been a WoW person, have you?
I have been on and off, but like...
Oh yeah, actually, you did get it. You bought it, and you said, "Hey, move over to my server." So I rebought it, bought the expansion, paid to move server with my shaman, and then you were like, "Eh."
And that's why I'm a great friend.
I just smash my face against the keyboard and I win.
Yeah.
That's basically how Judge plays things.
Is he a paladin?
No, mate, DK.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
But yeah, other than that, not much else?
Not much else. We've got about 15 new follows, so thank you very much for all those. That's
Thanks,
been
guys.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, so I suppose that gets to move us on to everyone's favourite segment.
Oh, God.
Oh, Lord.
And we got down here, the E-Gaming Award.
Put it front and centre, my friend.
It's
Put it right up
front
there.
and
Front
centre.
and off
That is-
centre.
there we go.
That is,
Look at
that is the most
Depends which
coveted
camera's
thing
on.
in e-gaming.
It is really coveted. I mean, yesterday
In
I went
e-gaming alone.
last week it went to Nielsen for putting Candy Crush as Esports.
And if you haven't seen the Candy Crush TV show, go back to last week's VOD on YouTube and watch the end for the E-Gaming Award. We've got a trailer preview we put on there.
Yeah, that was horrendous.
You'll laugh,
This
you'll
week-
cry, you'll
This
cry
week's
some more.
E-Gaming Award will go to, what is his name? Fiend from Conspiracy Black. Now, this is a CSGO player. Now, I believe we can get some vision of the tweet that he put out. It's a collection of tweets. There we go.
Collection of messages. So this was...
There's some
Is the
messages
NRA
in there and there's some tweets. So,
the
here's
NRA
some
aware of the gun
context.
show?
They're both CGM teams.
Okay.
So, CyberGamer main teams, about third tier in. Conspiracy Black, they're a little bit higher than Lynx Gaming on the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lynx want to reschedule for their best of three.
Yeah.
So they
Reasonable.
send it.
Ask the question.
So asked the question. Got back if you're a real, basically, long story short, if you were a real team, we would give you a reschedule, but there's no point. Just playing's a formality. It's not worth
geez.
rescheduling.
Oh, wow.
And posted the lovely picture of that huge bicep there with, I'm not sure what's in it. There's like a little piece of paper or something. I don't know.
That's probably where he's put his IV in. You know where I'm going with this, kids.
So this collection we're seeing on screen now, guys, is the response, where we have the chat logs, and then you get the scores, 16, 14, 8, 16.
Yeah,
here.
so Conspiracy lost 2-0 in a best of three.
Nice.
The tweet got almost 300 likes, almost 80 retweets.
Yeah.
Absolutely owned. I mean, if
That's
you're
great.
going to post a picture of your biceps,
Yeah.
you want to be like Conor McGregor level
Yeah.
backing it up.
That's
Yeah.
it. And that's the thing, like Conor McGregor level backing it up, but also looking at how he and Mayweather then act after the fight.
Yeah.
But they're all good. They're all good because
fun.
they're just
It's
sitting there going, you know what, that was worth it, wasn't it, mate? We made a hell of a lot of money off that.
But I think Marlius and the Lynx Gaming team definitely won out there. That was...
Marla's easy impressions for this week.
Easy impressions. Well, they're doing the game, but that's good.
Yeah.
But Conspiracy and Lynx are both good upcoming teams.
They are.
They've got Rocket League teams that are fighting away in the top league, so it's good to see. But, I mean, come on, Fiend. That's
Yeah.
That.
you get the E-Gaming Award this week.
For the banter, we'll pay it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
God.
Well played, Tibor. That is it for us this week. Let us know what you think. Get to us at the Esports Show on Twitter or at each of our handles, at Judge Brand, at Tibor Time. And what's yours, Terry?
Oh, it's just at Terry Neal.
Oh, is it?
Just find the goddamn badger.
The
You'll
goddamn
find-
badger.
The
You'll find him.
goddamn badger.
Let us know what you thought. Let us know what you thought about us being on the desk tonight, desk instead of my desk and couch.
Yeah.
Let us know
gorgeous.
what you think about Hungry Jacks and crown placement.
It was very interesting going in and asking for these.
I bet it was.
No food was purchased. Best crown acquisition
Yeah.
ever.
Well
Actually,
played.
yeah, I'll give a shout out to Hungry Jacks. We didn't even get charged.
Nah.
Wow.
They just gave them to us going,
They just gave us
"Okay."
like, oh, you sad, sad man.
Especially when it's those two going into Ask, so it really looks sad. Other than that though, follow us on all of our socials at the Esport Show. Follow us here on Twitch if you want to get some notifications when we go live. We go live every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time at the moment, and standard time, of course, when daylight savings isn't on, obviously.
Yeah.
But also this video will be available on YouTube as a VOD to watch later. Show your friends, show your family, show your grandmother, because of course she needs to learn about esports, and also available on SoundCloud as a podcast. So for those of you who are audio inclined, want to have a listen in the car and catch up, head over to our SoundCloud as well. Other than that, though, thank you very much, guys. Lewis T. Borgratz on the end. We've got Terry Badger O'Neill in the middle, and myself, Matthew Judge Brown. Wow.
Oh my God, words are hard for you
Judge
today.
Brown signing off for this week in episode 4. We'll see you next Thursday.
Here's a lawyer.